La magia de Hollywood siempre ha llegado a los pilotos y actores. Y aquí te lo contamos. Esto es Máxima Velocidad Late Edition con Jessica Margo. Hoy tenemos a la piloto de autos Taylor Hagler del equipo Bryan Herta Autosport. El arte del cine y la velocidad siempre han ido juntos. Comenzamos.
¿Qué tal, amigos? Bienvenidos a Máxima Velocidad Late Edition. Yo soy Jessica Margo, donde congeniamos la magia de Hollywood con el automovilismo. Ustedes saben que siempre Hollywood ha estado enamorado de lo que sucede en la pista. El día de hoy tenemos a una invitada de honor, alguien que es de la fábrica piloto de la escudería de Hyundai de Bryan Herta Motorsports, que está participando, inician temporada en las 24 horas de Daytona. Estoy hablando nada menos, nada más que de Taylor Hagler, una joven piloto que se inicia de tan solo 28 años de edad, que tiene, ingresa a las filas de Bryan Herta en el 2021 y ha estado dando pasos agigantados, a pesar de ser un mundo dominado por hombres, hay que decirlo, el automovilismo. Ella llega y marca la diferencia, nada ajena a las cámaras y micrófonos y toda esa magia del cine, la televisión, el radio, porque ya ha hecho un documental que Hyundai, la marca Hyundai, fabricante del auto que precisamente tripula de la fábrica, le sacó un documental que vamos a ver. Taylor Hagler, una chica originaria del estado de Texas, acá del sur en la Unión Americana, pero así es como Taylor Hagler llega a este mundo del automovilismo.
Racing and like knowing that I was going into a male sport, it just meant that I had to work a little bit harder for the respect. I always want to strive to be better. Plus, I feel like when you have a love for competition, you just do it. You do what you can with what you have, and you have to work a little bit harder regardless of what it is in life. I've only been racing professionally for 5 years, and I raced for Bryan Herta Autosports for the last 2 years.
Bueno, amigos de Máxima Velocidad Late Edition, ahora sí, lo prometido es deuda. Estamos con Taylor Hagler, una piloto oficial del auto de Hyundai, que ya está allá en Daytona preparándose para la primera de la temporada 2024, que va a estar iniciando. Corre en Estados Unidos todo el campeonato de IMSA y también se va a Europa. Ahorita vamos a platicar un poquito con ella. Vamos a darle la bienvenida. Taylor, welcome to Máxima Velocidad Late Edition. You are from Texas, very young girl, and welcome. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you for having me.
Bueno, pues dice que está muy contenta, rápida, chiquita su respuesta, que está muy contenta. Taylor, you started in horse equestrian jumping, empezó brincando caballos, me imagino que es un amor, porque la gente que he conocido en el mundo ecuestre, pues le llama. People that I met through equestrian, they really love the horses, so it must have been a big change to leave the horses and then jump into the racing. Let's talk a little bit about how did that happen. Dinos un poquito más cómo fue ese cambio de los caballos. And you changed the horse from horsepower. So it was a kind of a different atmosphere, the same competition, the misma competencia, but a different change, a different landscape.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was that big of a change for me. Mostly just because I grew up watching racing as well. I went to the racetrack with my dad growing up. And I kind of wanted to do karting when I was a kid, but obviously went the horse route, and I did that until college, and then I kind of phased out of that. My horses got injured, we sold them all, phased out of that, and then just was like, well, I think I need a new hobby, like, let's try cars. So I ended up doing a racing school with my dad. We kind of did it as like a father-daughter thing, and really enjoyed it. So I went back and did a 2-day and still really had a lot of fun with it. He was retired at the time, had decided like, oh yeah, like let's go club racing. This would be a cool little hobby for us to do. And that was the whole intent behind that. Now it's a career, but that's not how that
it came from a hobby, went to a professional career. I was reading about you, and you went into NASA. I'm familiar with that championship. You had some good wins. Actually, you won in your hometown, home state, over there in Austin, Circuit of the Americas, in front of all your friends and family. Tu primer triunfo fue en Circuit of the Americas, en el Circuito de Cota, ahí in Austin. Tell us a little bit more about it. How was it? I mean, your first win. I mean, the family's there. Your dad has been a big cheerleader, what I can see. Scott Hagler, he was the one. Was he ever pushing you? Te empujaba un poco. Go racing. Come on, let's do it. Like the daughter and dad thing, or was he you as the one? Dad, I want to do it. I really want to do it.
It was a little bit of both. I mean, like when I was a kid and wanted to go karting, he was working. And so we kind of didn't do that route just because my mom really wasn't going to be able to handle the carts. My mom was the horse person, so I did that with her. And when he retired and we did the racing schools, it was kind of his push that got me into club racing. And he was like, oh, this will be so much fun. It'll be a hobby. Let's do it. And I was like, okay, cool. And every step of the way, it's kind of been not only him kind of pushing me to do the next step, but my mom as well. And she's always trying to find ways to, help get me into whatever seats I can get into. But my dad always did want to race. My mom just wouldn't let him. So how I somehow managed to be allowed to do it, I don't really know. So he kind of lives through me a little bit. So he's, at every race, involved in everything, always talking to me about the car, and he's very much involved and gets to live through me. So it's kind of a little bit of both. He's definitely, but I've also gotten to the point where I want to do it.
Is he there over there right now in Daytona going?
Yeah, he's outside, I think.
All right, way to go to have a dad, And anyway, let's talk about that. You went into I was reading a little bit about you. You won as a rookie. You got one of the awards. Tell us a little bit more about it. Ganó como novata en una de las categorías. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of things as a rookie. I mean, my rookie year was with NASA, like you said, and that was in Miatas. And then I had my rookie year in the Honda Civic in 2019. And then I had another rookie year in IMSA, and then another rookie year after that in IMSA with Hyundai. And at that same time, also did a rookie year in a GT3 car over in SRO, and ended up being like rookie of the year in that, and was rookie of the year over in NASA. And it's like, I like that a lot of these manufacturers and a lot of these sanctioning bodies have like special things for rookies, because I feel like they need to be held at a different standard, just as I was. So I was obviously very hard on myself and was like, oh, all of these people are faster than me. And it's like, no, well, I'm a rookie. They've been doing this for 10 years. I've been doing it for 10 days. So I like that the sanctioning bodies kind of highlight rookies a little bit more. And I think it just kind of helps build our confidence a bit.
Here at Maxima Velocidad Late Edition, we combine the magic of Hollywood, because Hollywood has always been involved with auto racing. Always the cameras, the films, they always go 24 hours of Le Mans, driven. In fact, Brad Pitt is shooting a movie about Formula One. So, and I know you're familiar with the cameras and everything. I just saw your they just posted Hyundai from Korea. They just posted a small short documentary about your life, which is very interesting. So, how did that how did that came? Tell us a little bit more. Did you put it together? The Hyundai told you have a very interesting life, Taylor. Let's put it together. And it was very nice, by the way. Very information, a lot of information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's just kind of like I tend to not really know what the projects are until they're done. I've kind of gotten used to over the years being in front of the camera. It's still not something that's my favorite, but you kind of just tend to get used to it. And things just, I get told like, hey, you're doing this interview with this person and this interview, and then something gets put together and I see the final product is typically how it works.
And welcome to professional auto racing. Someone told me the drivers start to work once they get out of the car, and that's the new era, because I'm from the old era, Anyway, let's talk about all of a sudden you started racing in 2022. Correct me if I'm wrong. For Bryan Herta, out of Motorsports, 2021. How was that call? Yeah. All of a sudden, did he pick up the phone? Did he call you himself? I used to follow Bryan Herta through all his racing. How was that? Tell us about that moment that you call him or he call you. Bryan Herta, manager, call you and say, "Hey, come and race one of our cars."
This is actually one of my favorite stories. because in 2020 I was actually racing against them.
Oh,
I was racing with Honda, and we went to a race in Mid-Ohio, and I ended up getting on pole. I outqualified all of his drivers and outraced all of his drivers. None of them could catch me. And my manager also managed two of Bryan Herta's drivers at the same time. So Bryan was able to go to my manager and be like, hey, we want her. And he kept hounding and hounding. And Mid-Ohio, I believe at that point was in like June or July. And I did not sit down with Bryan until the last race of the year in Atlanta.
all right. So it was one of those.
Hounding until I did it.
It was one of those hasta la vista, baby, to Bryan Herta drivers that got you in there. You know, he said, "Oh,
Yeah.
who is this girl?" I mean, Taylor. I mean, I've been in this business for a long time, and this is a world dominated by men. It's not easy for female drivers to come in. In fact, I see it. I remember Danica Patrick. She's still getting criticized by the European press. You know, they call her the Barbie driver. You know, and things like that. So it's not easy. It's not easy. How do you get along with all the male drivers? Do they see, oh, it's another girl, or they said, oh, I gotta watch out. Taylor is gonna put a better time on is gonna lap me or do a better time on the laps? How's the atmosphere, especially in the endurance racing?
Honestly, like I haven't had any issues, and I mean, I've been pretty fortunate on that. I did when I first started racing in NASA, there was, you know, a couple guys that would get mad if I beat them or whatever because I was a rookie and also because I was a female. But I felt like once I kind of came over to like SRO and IMSA, that culture isn't really here anymore.
Okay.
That was one of my things that I was nervous about. But I mean, when I went straight to in 2020, when I was with LA Honda World, like they were super inviting and open. And then all of the drivers that we've had over the years with Bryan Herta, we've all just been like a family. I'm included in everything. Everyone helps me out. I can help other people out. Like there really is no, like, there's obviously a competition factor, but there's not a competition factor solely because and that's really nice.
And let's talk about this year, 2024. You're over there right now at the Daytona Speedway. What are your goals? First of all, let's talk about this weekend, this coming 24 hours of Daytona. It's not easy, 24 hours, you know. People watch it. I'll sit down on my couch and watch the 24 hours. It's not the same thing as driving 24 hours at that level. So tell us a little bit more about this year, this weekend, and also for the 2024 season. What is Taylor wants to accomplish? What do I need to do this year?
Yeah, so I mean, we didn't have the greatest season last year. So this year is really kind of just like my redemption year. You know, we had a lot of mistakes that were made last year. That the big goal is to not do that this year. And this year I am one of the senior drivers at Bryan Herta Autosports, so I have a new co-driver. It'll be his first year in this car, so I'm going to be doing a lot of work with him, trying to get him up to speed. And he's very quick, very, very good driver, has a lot of experience underneath him. So hopefully we'll have a better year this year. So my low long-term goal is just to make the podiums a couple times this year, and that'll immediately be better than last year. And that's kind of the only thing I have in the works right now for 24 is just sticking with Hyundai and running Bryan Herta. We're still debating doing some stuff over in Europe. I did a season last year as well. But that's like a maybe 10% chance I decide to do it. Haven't decided.
Yeah, I saw on your calendar that you have some races over there in Europe. You racing in Barcelona. You're going to be racing in Germany, Nürburgring, and all that.
Right.
Is that part of your plan this 2024?
Not for this year. Hyundai will be attending Nürburgring. I will not be attending Nürburgring.
Okay.
But we haven't fully decided if we're going to run in SRO Europe yet or not. I
Well,
had a great last year, but it's a lot of travel.
Well, Taylor, you have a full plate here. You know, it's not easy racing with these guys, you know. So anyway, I wanted to let's talk about you're gonna adjust to this new co-driver. Do you guys share information? Do you share the secret? Does Bryan come and say, hey, listen, Taylor, you gotta take these gotta hit the apex here, you gotta, you know, do you have that freedom?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like me and my co-driver Bryson, like we look over data together, we set up the car together. Like if he has any questions, he can come to me. If I have any questions, I go to him. But it's not just between the two of us either. Like we have the freedom to go talk to any of the other drivers. We do data overlays with all of the other drivers. We can talk to the other engineers too. Like everything is very much shared within the whole Hyundai camp.
Mm.
Bryan is here this weekend, so we're able to, you know, ask him any questions if we're having issues, but he tries to kind of leave that to us as the drivers, since that's kind of who he's molded us to be, and then also the engineers.
Well, actually, and anyway, you're over there in Daytona. You're from Texas. You're from Valverde. Let me ask you this straightforward: do you miss your Tex-Mex food? I mean, come on. You're in Florida. Tex-Mex is big over there in Texas. I've been there a lot of times, but every time I go there, it's one thing Mexican food, but the Tex-Mex, that's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate enough that we have the RV here, so my dad's been cooking dinner every night. I don't have to go and try and find good Tex-Mex food here. But I don't really eat that much Tex-Mex in Texas either. We have some really good taquerias that I go to for the nice street tacos, and that's about the extent of my Tex-Mex.
Yeah, you're gonna have to invite me, and I'll be the judge if your dad cooks good around that motorhome. Anyway, I want to wish you the best of luck for this 2024 season. We're gonna be following you here in Maxima Velocidad Late Edition. We are, like I said, we concentrate and we are targeting the Hispanic audience inside the USA. I'm pretty sure I'll catch up to you guys in one of the races. We want to wish you the best of luck, and and hopefully I'll see you a lot of times in the winner's circle this 2024 season.
Thank you.